This copyrighted video is presented by the authority of the National Hockey League and is intended solely for private, non-commercial use. Any publication, reproduction, or retransmission of the material contained herein is strictly prohibited.
The Stanley Cup, hockey's ultimate prize. Perhaps the most famous trophy in all of sports. It is the dream of all hockey players. And on this, the 100th anniversary of the Stanley Cup, it is somehow only fitting that in its quest would be hockey's greatest franchise and its greatest player. Champs, the story of the 1993 Stanley Cup playoffs, featuring the Montreal Canadiens and the Los Angeles Kings.
Cross ice, Loisel with Ferraro to the front of the net. He shoots, he scores!
This is Teemu Selanne. Gets around Merzen, one-hands the pass in front, passes in front again, they score! The Jets win it in overtime! They stay alive!
Ahead to Don Foos with Muller. Vincent Don Foos, cross to Muller, shot scores! Mark Muller! One shot, one goal for the Montreal Canadiens in overtime.
If there was one word to describe the 1993 Stanley Cup playoffs, it would indeed be overtime. A record 25 divisional and conference playoff games went into OT, setting the stage for a Stanley Cup final, which included 3 more overtime games. To guide us through this road to the finals, the Kings' Wayne Gretzky and Montreal's Patrick Waugh, 2 men who've seen their share of sudden death and sudden life.
For me, it's the easiest part. I'm so nervous. I just go in the middle of my crease and turn around and look at my net and just try to make it a vision of my net small, getting smaller. And then I'm going to the net and I make a turn on each side, and then I goes in and try to pump up myself. You know that your narrow margin is not there at all. You made a mistake, it's in, you lose the game. And I don't know, I like to play in that situation.
I don't feel any more pressure in overtime than I feel any other point in time in the game. You can't change your style. I think that if anything, the game maybe gets a little more defensive-minded in overtime. But listen, there's a lot of fluky goals to score in overtime, believe me.
I found a quarter going on the ice, gave it to the trainer, and it was like a lucky quarter, and it's right here.
Heads up,
this quarter right here, and I don't know, but it was lucky, definitely, and I kissed my stick just before that.
Flipping it up to LaFontaine, he gets tripped up, gets it to May, and over the line, here's May going in on goal, he shoots, he scores!
Buffalo's shocking 4-game sweep of the heavily favored Boston Bruins required 3 overtime games, including the clincher. But this was not the only semifinal series decided in overtime, for the Blues were also looking for a sweep.
Blues in the midst of a change. Big hit by Lowry. Puck sped back off and Janney. Put one in front. Score!
Eddie Belfour came out of the net for some reason and ran into me, and I'm certainly not going to run into the goalie in overtime. You don't want to take a stupid penalty when we have a chance to score a goal, and I was going by him, and he ran into me, and so it was nothing on my part. He ran into me, and luckily Craig just threw it at the net before he could get back there.
Rouse hammers one back in for Toronto. Clark shoving it to the corner. Out front again, Rouse. Scores! Scores! The Leafs win it! The Leafs defeat the Detroit Red Wings in overtime. This has been an unbelievable turn of events.
As the teams moved into the divisional finals, so too did the intensity move up a notch. And for one team, this round was a true test of character.
Going into the Vancouver series, we'd played Vancouver 9 times and we lost 7 out of 9 times. And we went into the game 1 and we lost game 1. And a lot of times when you lose hockey games, you say, well, we lost and it's kind of over and done with and we regroup tomorrow. But we got pummeled. I mean, we got out-hit, we got out-skated, we got outshot, we got outscored. 5-2 is a flattering score. And Barry came in after the game, and to make a long story short, by the time his speech was over, I had felt like we won, and we were up 1-0. So he was very instrumental, I think, in that whole series.
Here's Robitaille, Vancouver zone, Robitaille to Gretzky, scores! Wayne Gretzky got it on the left wing side from Luc Robitaille.
Babbage is checked by Gretzky. Sandstrom's going for the net. Gretzky, now it goes in, it's deflected in off the defenseman.
And Gretzky just slides it in.
Career goal number 100.
Game 4, we were losing 7-2 with about 3 minutes left, and Marty was still throwing his weight around and took a penalty with about 2 minutes left in the game. Their hockey club didn't respond to him, and I think our hockey club did. I think our club grew an inch, and their club might have got an inch shorter, and I think that was a big turnaround in the series.
Curry throws it back to the net for Robitaille. Robitaille for Curry, he shoots. Saved by McLean. Robitaille wrap around the 10. Knocked back of the goal. Robitaille has it again. Up front for Shewchuk. He scores!
Gary Shewchuk, the most unlikely hero.
Barry reinforced that he believed in each and every player from one guy to number 27 on the team. And who scored the winning goal was Shewchuk. It was a big goal, it was an important goal, and I think it was the goal that really lifted our hockey club, because we came into game 6 here and I believe the score was 5-3 or something, but we outshot them 51-27, and the score was actually pretty flattering.
Now there are a happy group of hockey fans and hockey players in Los Angeles tonight as rookie head coach Barry Melrose has taken his team to the Campbell Conference Final.
This was the deepest the Kings had ever ventured in the playoffs, and they now awaited the winner of the Norris Division Finals. Toronto had upset Detroit in the first round for its first series win since 1987. And behind red-hot goaltender Curtis Joseph, the Blues had swept Chicago. So what outcome did the Kings hope for?
People say you don't care who you play, but I don't think so. I think you always root for the team that you think you may have an easier time with. And you know, we just felt in that particular series the teams were so evenly matched, we didn't know. I think that the only difference might have been in the two teams might have been that Gilmore was playing on another planet. He was playing so exceptional.
Gilmore back in the net. Andreychuk in front with Borshevsky. It is Gilmore waiting around the net. Waiting, he's open. Gilmore! Solo job! And he's won it in a second overtime period. How about that?
The best player ends the best game in the best fashion right here.
One game later, one more double overtime thriller. Only this time, it was the Maple Leafs who were singing the blues. But that's how this series went, back and forth, until the decisive 7th game in Toronto.
Well, it's been a great series, the Norris Final. And now, forget all that. It's down to this. One game. The winner takes all and meets the LA Kings.
We thought that Toronto was a little bit bigger and St. Louis was a shorter flight. But we weren't cheering for either team. We just felt whoever won we were ready for, and Toronto obviously deserved to win when they win a game 7, 6-0 or whatever.
5 seconds left. 6-0 Toronto. You got it.
After we beat Quebec, we had lots of confidence, and it was just important for us to be ready. And it's tough. I think it's tough when you you get a level of emotion that high against a team like Quebec and get back in the next series in the first game and say that's as much important as the last game we played against the Nordiques. But we done it.
There's Mogilny breaking across the line as Fuhr dashes to the net. The sixth attacker is going to go down. Here's the loose puck in front. Mogilny with a prime opportunity here. And a rebound to the right side. And the Habs win game number 1. A last-second effort of Patrick Roy.
So the goaltending battle won by Patrick Roy.
Kearney battling for it. They go crashing in. Here's a loose puck. Savard to Carboneau. They score! Guy Carboneau wins it for Montreal.
I like when Jacques talks because Jacques always go like, hey guys, we gotta be ready not for 60, maybe 80 minutes, maybe 100 minutes. And that's what you have to do. Every night before a game you go to bed, you don't know how long you're gonna be on the ice. But you gotta make sure that you're gonna make a commitment as a team and you're gonna make yourself ready to play. You don't know how much time.
Brian Bellows, the shot blocked by Bodger. Bellows again, feeds the point. There's a shot, they score! The Canadiens are ecstatic. The Sabres are stunned. And the Canadiens are still celebrating at center ice.
That series, the toughest game was the number 4 for us. It was 3-2 for us. They tied the game with 9 seconds left in the game. And you don't want to lose those games.
Now it's Kurt Muller. Kurt Muller the shot, and he scores!
Well, Kirk Muller, the heart and soul of Montreal, scores the game winner. Montreal moves on as the teams now line up to shake hands.
There were those who thought that Montreal's sweep of Buffalo might be duplicated in the Patrick Division, where the Pittsburgh Penguins had made short work of New Jersey and now awaited the New York Islanders. Even Montreal was thinking Pittsburgh.
I think we were ready to challenge them because at the end of the season, we played a game against them. We lost 4-3 in overtime. There was a controversy goal in the second period that put them ahead after 2 periods, 2-1. And I think at the time, everybody kind of realized that we had the team to compete with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't say we would have beat them, but we could compete with them.
But no one told the feisty Islanders that Pittsburgh was predestined to advance. And in an outstanding display of grit and determination, this young Islander team, which seemingly came together on the eve of the playoffs, battled the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions to the limit, forcing them to the climactic 7th game. There, with the Islanders holding a 3-2 lead in the final minute, the Penguins summoned the heart of a champion and showed their hometown fans precisely why they had won 2 straight Stanley Cups.
3-2, Islanders leading, empty net at the other end. Larry Murphy takes the shot. Score! Ron Francis! And Rick Target, the screen in front. This game is tied at 3. They're just waiting for the overtime right now, and that's exactly what we're going to have.
The Islanders might have packed their sticks and gone home, but Glenn Healy came up big and set the stage for one of the year's biggest upsets.
Samuelson with Lemieux, trying to get it back to him, could not. Whoa, he's got a chance on the break. Here comes Ferraro, 3-on-2. Ferraro drops it for the game. Score! The New York Islanders have beaten the Stanley Cup defending champions in overtime.
Can you believe it?
I was surprised that Islanders win that series, but I know that the game has to be played on the ice, and everything could happen when you're going game number 7. And Islanders were just great. And then when they come in Montreal, we were scared. We were scared because they beat probably the best team in the league. But we started the first game and we played just great. It was a 4-1 win. It was an awesome game from our team, and everybody really played well that night and gave us a good start. It was important.
But as easy as that game was for Montreal, the Islanders showed their mettle in Game 2. It was a double overtime affair, matching New York's 29-7 overtime playoff record against Montreal's streak of 5 straight playoff overtime wins. And it seemed like it would never end.
It's funny because at this time, with all the success we had against Buffalo and the success we had against Quebec, it was 5 wins in overtime already, and everybody was really confident that we couldn't make it again.
3-on-2 for the moment. Fitzgerald trying to get back. Down post, drops it. LeBeau shot. Scores! LeBeau! Canadiens win in double overtime. 4-3.
At Nassau Coliseum for Game 3, the Canadiens sought to tie the NHL record with their 11th straight playoff victory. And once again, they went to overtime.
Here come the Canadiens. Carbonneau shot, scores! Guy Carbonneau has won it for Montreal. And so the Canadiens have set a record, their 7th overtime win in one playoff year. They've won 11 straight games, haven't lost now in a month.
It's tough to finish that fourth game, win that fourth game in the series, especially on the road. Especially a team like the Islanders, they just give everything they could in that game. And we came in the game number 5 in the Forum, and I remember a guy like Kirk Muller stand up in the room and make sure that everybody is ready. And when you talk about leaders, he's a great one in this team. And there's nothing more important than a guy to stand up in the room and do it on the ice by himself. And Kirk just done it. You know, the game start. Kirk Muller's in the corner, pick up the puck, put it 5-0 on Glen Ely. It's 1-0 Montreal. Then everybody stand up in the bench, says, hey, he talks, he score, let's follow that. And, you know, that's the best leadership you can have.
The Montreal Canadiens are headed to the Stanley Cup Final for the 35th time in their history.
There's only one thing in my mind. I want to win. I had the chance to win a cup, and I had a chance to lose a cup. And there's a huge difference.
My whole life I always wanted to play one series in Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens. I got an opportunity, and I was obviously really excited about it. I remember talking to my wife after Game 1, and she said, sometimes in life you got to be careful what you wish for, because those wishes come true. Because I felt pretty depressed after we lost 4-1, and I was -3, and I really didn't have a very good hockey game, so that was a tough night for me.
Here's Gretzky waiting, gives it to Sandstrom down the middle, left side, shoots, score! Thomas Sandstrom puts the Kings ahead 3-2.
The Kings won Game 2 by that 3-2 margin and split the next 2 games back in Los Angeles, which set the stage for still another overtime game in Toronto.
McCurry didn't see it. Anderson, Glenn Anderson, snaps one off. Loose, they score!
Devastating loss for the LA Kings.
We knew we had to win one game in Toronto, whether it be Game 5 or Game 7. It was going to take one of those games. And if you think about it, you don't want to play in a Game 7, but if you really think about it, Game 7, surprisingly enough, there's a lot more pressure on the home team than the visiting team, because the visiting team loses, the first thing they say is, well, the reason they won, they had home ice advantage, and it kind of sloughs off for some reason. So going into Game 6, we just said, let's worry about this game, let's win this game, and we'll take care of Game 7.
We played just about 1 minute of sudden death overtime, and it's truly sudden death for the Los Angeles Kings. They lose, the series is over. They win the 7th game Saturday night in Toronto. Robitaille to the corner. Sandstrom, Robitaille. 7 cuts in front. They score! They score! Wayne Gretzky wins it for Los Angeles!
For me, it might have been the sweetest goal I ever scored in my career. I think that if we would have lost Game 6 and been eliminated, no matter what would have happened in the rest of my career, a lot of people would have always gone back to, yeah, but they lost to Toronto, and where was Wayne Gretzky in that series? So I was a sense of relief, even though I've accomplished a lot in my career. I guess you're only as good as your last game, and for me, it was probably one of the most special goals that I've ever scored.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 7 of the Campbell Conference Final.
This is all there is, friends. There isn't anymore. And for a hockey fan, it doesn't get any better than this. Game 7.
Going into Game 7, I just really was excited to play, and I felt that the first goal that we scored, when I gave the puck to Marty, and Marty made a great play and gave it back to me, and basically all I had to do was put it in the empty net. I felt real confident it was going to be a good night. And then Thomas got a quick goal, all of a sudden it's 2-0, but here we are, and it's a 2-0 game, and bang, bang, they're back into it, 2-2, and it was a dogfight. And I think the third goal is a big goal. I scored a couple minutes, I believe, after they had tied the game.
Gretzky scores! Gretzky gets the pass!
It's the Kings leading again, 3-2.
Of course, the fifth one to make a 2-goal lead also didn't hurt matters either.
10 seconds left. In front. Rouse can't get a shot away. It will clear the zone, and the Los Angeles Kings are going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
That was one of the first times in my career where I can honestly say I had a lot of personal satisfaction. I wanted to win. It was something that I desperately had to have, and I'm glad it happened.
And so, a postseason in which the Stanley Cup runneth overtime was almost complete. All that remained were the finals, a goal so many sought to reach, only to be detoured along the way.
He scores! And this has been playoff hockey at its best.
Now there were two teams filled with players and coaches alike whose life had been spent talking about winning the Stanley Cup. And now that elusive goal was within reach.
It's something I've dreamt about since I was 4 years old, I think, and something that seems untouchable until now.
I grew up in Montreal, and I'd seen Montreal win so many Stanley Cups, and I can remember, you know, if we were driving in the car and we saw one of those players like Jacques Lemaire or Yvon Cornwallis driving by, it was just, you know, like they were movie stars.
I've been dreaming since I'm a kid. You know, how bad? I mean, I'd do anything for it.
Until you actually win, you're considered a loser and when you do win, you carry a winner label the rest of your life.
When you get there, hey guys, let's make it worth it because it can last a lifetime no matter which way, no matter which happens, and let me tell you, it's better to win it.
And when you talk about the Stanley Cup, what better reference point could there be than the Forum in Montreal? No building in North America has a hockey heritage so rich, a past so storied. At the Forum, legends come to life, and folklore lives on forever.
Leading to Henri Richard on the left wing. Henri Richard coming out in front. A shot and a goal! The Montreal Canadiens have defeated the Chicago Blackhawks and are the 1971 Stanley Cup champions.
Jacques Lemaire gets the goal that wins the Stanley Cup in 4 straight games for the Montreal Canadiens.
But the question remains, are these hallowed halls indeed haunted? Do the ghosts of Canadiens' past really roam the ice?
For me, ever since I put the jersey on this year, it's been a special moment. And you always feel like the hockey gods of Montreal are on your side, and I think other teams realize that too. Especially when you get down to a close game, an overtime game, you're going up against tradition, you're going up against the continuity of some great heroes in hockey, and maybe that's something that's going to add a little bit to our side.
Now in 1993, the Forum embraced the finals once again. For the eager Montreal fans, the sights and sounds of Lord Stanley's Cup were everywhere.
L'alignement des joueurs, players, lineup, le programme.
The enormity of the moment was unmistakable. The prize was there for everyone to see. And there was an extra special feeling for one king who was back in his native province.
Number 20, Luc Robitaille.
Went on the ice and I was just like, whew. You know, then for a moment I thought, here I am, and I saw a Stanley Cup in the middle of the ice, and this is what I watched growing up every Saturday night at 8 o'clock, you know, and here I am today. I'm in the NHL, and now I'm playing in the Stanley Cup Finals, and I'm playing against a team that I grew up watching. So it's really special for me to have a chance to accomplish all these goals in one event.
And with his friends and family watching, Robitaille's dream got an exclamation mark just 3:03 into the game.
Come on, boys. Deep, deep.
They're on the power play, the first one of the finals.
Watch the points are wide open. Points are wide open.
Gretzky back to the line. Shitnick shot. Rebound is there. They score. Law appeared to have it, but it came loose. And the Kings get an early power play goal and lead 1-0.
Let it go, boys.
The Kings' attacking style had paid some early dividends, but Montreal knew that their best defense against this would be to counterattack with odd man rushes, and that's precisely what they did.
Pass ahead, right side, Bellows, save, Kelly Rudy.
Muller's got it. Muller coming to Schneider. Short-handed Muller. Save made by Rudy. And here's Schneider giving it to Denny Savard coming in. Schneider! And it's a great save by Rudy. Ronan, he gets pinned up by Mark Hardy. Dion centered shot. Save! Kelly Rudy sweeps it in.
Kelly Rudy was frustrating the Canadiens on every rush. Late in the first period, however, there was one man he simply could not stop.
Shot it on the boards for Ronan. DiPietro's in front of the net. Score! Off Gretzky and into the net as he tried to intercept the pass. And the Canadiens get a break and tie it.
You don't see that very often. Wayne Gretzky tried to stop a pass across, and watch Gretzky's stick. He just puts it out to not allow the pass across, and Wayne, he scores them in either end.
Well, I think those kind of things, when they happen to pretty much anybody, kind of goes a little bit unnoticed. When it happens to a Wayne Gretzky, first thing I think of is, oh, that's all anybody's going to talk about for 2 days. So all I thought about was redeeming myself, or trying to redeem myself.
If there's anything that will strengthen Wayne Gretzky's resolve, it's something like that. He now feels that he owes his team at least one.
That part of the game was so fluky that maybe it inspired me a little bit. Maybe it made me pick it up a notch. Maybe it turned out to be the best thing that happened. I turned to somebody on the bench and I said, "What does that mean?" I thought they were chanting something in French. I honestly didn't know they were chanting Gretzky, or I probably would have laughed about it. You know, the fans in Montreal have always been good to me. You know, that's part of the game. I mean, I would have been chanting it too if I was a fan up there.
But with the game tied at 1 in the second period, Gretzky helped silence the crowd.
Robitaille does. Good play. Gretzky the shot. Hit the post. Rebound. Shitnick shot. That one hit Waugh. Gretzky back to get it. Gretzky banged that one off the near side post. Rob Blake, is he getting chances in front? Score! Right through Waugh's legs. Robitaille's got two. And it's 2-1 Los Angeles.
It's all right, boys. We'll get that one back. Come on.
For Gretzky, redemption was still not complete, for he found himself right in the middle of the next 2 goals as well. Both of these going into the Montreal net.
He played it in back of the goal. Nearing the 2-minute mark of the third. Gretzky centered one. Score! Gretzky to Curry. And we've seen that combination quite a bit. Gretzky chasing it down. Bellows back to get it. 2:05 to go, and they pulled the goaltender. How about that? Sandstrom, Gretzky waiting. Come here, baby. Gretzky shot. Score! Wayne Gretzky! An empty net goal, and it is a 4-1 Los Angeles lead.
The Montreal crowd now sat in stunned silence, for the Kings had accomplished the improbable. They'd come into the fabled Forum and had taken a 1-0 lead.
I think we shocked Montreal a little bit. They haven't seen a team like us that goes at a team. They're used to teams that lay back and pick men up. We are an in-your-face style, an attacking style, so that was new to them, and it caused them some problems. But they got a great goaltender. They'll respond and be much better the rest of the series.
And though Waugh failed to deliver against the Kings, his wife had no problem immediately after the game.
I was about 11:30 when I left the Forum, and we had to be to the hospital for 12 with my wife. And when we arrive at the hospital, they induce her, and then we wait until about 4 a.m. before the work start, you know, the contraction. And then when the contraction started, was pretty fast. Because my wife, she's a lucky person. She got the baby very fast, and the big contraction was around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and And then 10-8, the girl was born, and probably the best thing happened during that Stanley Cup because I didn't have time to think about the game. I had more my focus on the girl, and that was a motivation when everything was over. And I said, hey, I might be a little bit tired because I didn't sleep much, but I'm gonna find some motivation out there, and I'm gonna play it for her and my family. My two other kids at home, they're really important to me.
And so, with one more Montreal fan in the fold, the anticipation grew for Game 2, with the Canadiens looking to, dare we say, tie it up. Their fans both patient and understanding.
Rusty, a little rusty after a second 8-day layoff in about a month or so. They'll come back, they'll be fired up tonight.
But I attribute to a couple of specific things, like Mike Keane's absence from the lineup, which he's supposed to be back tonight, as well as their lack of hitting Wayne Gretzky. I think people are afraid to hit Wayne Gretzky. They think he's a legend. They have to put him in the boards, shake him up a bit, and that'll get him going tonight.
Sound advice for Montreal. For as Game 2 commenced, it quickly became apparent that Gretzky was going to be a focal point. Every move he made was countered, and the fans loved it.
Every time Gretzky gets touched, you hear the crowd applauding.
And guess what? He's getting touched a lot. When the Canadiens get their chance, they're going to take on Wayne Gretzky and really try to bang away at him physically.
We're going to go after them. We're going to go after them.
Finally, with less than 2 minutes remaining in the first period, the Canadiens' feverish forechecking eventually got to Los Angeles.
Shoot it!
It comes to the line. Desjardins shot. Score! The Canadiens get the first one.
Having taken a 1-0 lead, Montreal carried the momentum into the second period, where they looked to increase their advantage on the power play. But then, a mistake at the blue line by Patrice Brisebois.
Brisebois missed it. Taylor's breaking away for LA. Here he comes. Scores. Dave Taylor scores. I think it'll be interesting, Harry, to see how the Canadiens respond here now.
Keep going, boys. Stay up. Forget that, boys. Forget it. Let's go. Let's keep going here. Come on, boys. Okay, boys.
And the Canadiens responded as one might have expected, with even more pressure on Rudy. But the Kings goaltender was up to the task.
Stopped by Rudy. Didn't know where it is. He was looking around. He thought it was in his glove. It was just outside the goal line.
On into the third period they went, still tied at 1 apiece. But at the 8:32 mark, a stuff, a stifle, and a score.
Taylor trying to tuck it in. Loose puck. Score! Manager got the backhander, and the Kings have taken a 2-1 lead.
I got the dump, and I just threw it back behind the net. Tony was there. He gave a little feed to Stitch, and he tried to stuff it. Watt put his stick down and went off his stick and right in the slot, and I was standing there. I just backhanded at the net. I slid underneath him. I don't know if he didn't have the time to recover or he was just falling, but it just slid underneath him and went in, so we were all happy to see it go.
Incredibly, the Kings were in position to steal 2 games on the road. Time after time, the Canadiens crashed the zone, with each attack rebuffed by the Kings, now playing to preserve their 2-1 lead.
The medal of the Montreal Canadiens is being tested right here by the Kings in Game 2. A chance for Los Angeles to go up 2-0 in this series with 2 wins in Montreal. We come down to white knuckle time now at that point where the Montreal Canadiens are going to have to take even more risks trying to score.
So in the final 2 minutes, Demers took a huge risk to change the momentum. The call went out to measure Marty McSorley's stick.
We got something critical going on here. It's a stick measurement. You're allowed a half-inch curve. That is the device that measures the curve. Kerry Fraser is measuring it.
Come on, come on, come on.
It's Marty McSorley's stick, I believe.
I just went, wow, because Wayne came up to me and said, is it legal? And I said, I don't know. I really don't know.
If he is guilty of playing with an illegal stick, the LA Kings will be penalized and Marty McSorley will have to sit for 2 minutes. If it is not illegal, the Montreal Canadiens end up with a penalty.
You're never 100% sure, but when you've been in the game that long, the players know it, told me about it. Actually, players told me 3 times.
It's illegal. Yes!
Kerry Fraser said that it was over the limit, and I was like, this is
just not the time. This really isn't.
Timeout now.
Good call by Jacques Demers, and bingo, we got ourselves a real dramatic situation.
A situation made even more dramatic by the fact that Montreal was scoreless in its last 31 attempts on the power play.
All right, let's not get outnumbered, okay? Let's make sure we don't get DB pity. We got a battle. Let's not get outnumbered.
The question remained what to do with Waugh. The decision for Demers was easy.
We're 6 against 4, so we can take back Patrick out. We haven't got the choice.
I mean, I'm not a genius. I'm paid to coach. I mean, there's no major decisions. We knew that we had a legal stick going for us. We knew that our power play was just like zilch. It was just like terrible. And we knew if we had a 6-on-4 with the quality athletes I had out there, well, we had a heck of a better chance than 5-on-4, which has not been working for us.
So Montreal had a two-man advantage, but the Kings had both the lead and an open net. With this, the final 100 seconds commenced.
Desjardins over to Schneider. Schneider to Desjardins. Two-man advantage. They're ganged up in front of the net. Desjardins shot. Score! I've tied the game!
Then, almost before the fans had a chance to sit down, the first minute of overtime.
Roulin carries in. Roulin in front of the net. And a shot. Desjardins following the play. And he missed in the short side. There he is again. Scores! Desjardins! And the Canadiens win in overtime. His third goal of the game. And the series is a brand new one.
When you score in overtime, it's always a relief. Personally, for sure, was a big thrill, and a big surprise too to score 3 goals in the final. But the big thing of that is that we win that game and we tied the series 1-1.
Desjardins had become the first defenseman to score a hat trick in the Stanley Cup Finals. But Demers knew the focus would be on the stick.
This stick, I'm going to hear about it for the next 10 years. I don't give a hoot, because if we happen to win the Stanley Cup, there's not going to be an asterisk put at the end and say, won that game because of an illegal stick. This Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup if we win it.
And so, for the first time in the 100-year history of the Stanley Cup, a final round game would be played in Los Angeles. The difference in LA is that some of the more die-hard fans are also some of the more recognizable, but their passion is the same when the Kings take to the ice.
The Kings have really made me a big hockey fan, you know, so my heart's with them, you know. I'm friends with Wayne and friends with Bruce McDonald, so that's really kind of got me really interested in it. And anytime, you know, when they're in a position to win the Stanley Cup, you got to come out and support it.
Oh, absolutely, the Kings. And I've been living down here for a long time.
I've just been hoping for this for all the years that I've been coming. You know, we'd come through all the games, and they'd always get to the second series of the playoffs, and then, you know, that would be it. And during the quarterfinals this year, when they actually won, Wayne turned at the very end when the buzzer went off and gave me a big thumbs up and a smile. It's like they'd finally gone beyond. All right, here's our boys.
For a change, it was the Stars who were doing the applauding. Now it was time for North America to see what all the excitement was about.
Brown online, track 1, please.
Showtime!
They're loaded for excitement at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood as we bring you inside in anticipation of the player introductions and the start of the third game of a series which has become a best of 5, now tied at 1 between Montreal and Los Angeles.
And number 99, the captain, Wayne Gretzky.
But as ready as the Great Western Forum seemed to be, the Canadiens were that much more so and dominated the early going.
Let's go, let's go, let's go! Come on, boys!
Midway through the first period, Montreal's hard work in front of the net paid off.
Canadiens now, long shot, scored! A shot deflected in front of the net, and
first goal of the game.
It was the only goal scored in the first period, and the Habs figured the same approach would work in the second.
Let's go hard, okay? Everybody goes hard.
And sure enough, at the 2:41 mark, Gilbert Dion found the net. 21 seconds later, the Canadiens were back.
And it's Carbonneau now bringing the puck in. Carbonneau's pass to Bernadette. They score!
Matthew Snyder on a great setup, and the Canadiens lead it 3-0.
We knew what was going to happen here, a big show in LA, and we knew we had to focus on the task at hand. I thought we did a good job of concentrating, came out strong in the first period. Second period, I thought we came out strong again. Once we got up a few goals, I think we relaxed a little bit too much.
Maybe so, for the Kings saw their 3-0 deficit and took a page from the Montreal playbook.
They hit us once, we hit them 3 or 4 times.
Around for Keane. Keane. Oh, what a shot by Mark Hardy, and the glass has come out. The whole pane of plexi has Mark Hardy a flying check.
And Hardy's done one thing on his first shift. He's got this crowd talking. He's got 6 spectators wondering where the glass came from. And I wonder if any of his teammates will join the cause here, because they have been AWOL, most of them, tonight.
And in fact, Hardy's check did spur the Kings as Gretzky went to work in his office.
Right in front, Lucky. Pull that guy through ya.
3-0 lead for Montreal. 12:13 left here. Behind the net, Gretzky. Gretzky looking in front. Robitaille scores! Luc Robitaille!
Habs get it out. Shot by Brisebois, but Granato stole it. Comes in, he'll get a shot. Scores! Granato through the legs of Waugh. 3-2.
Center Donnelly, nice pass to Gretzky. Gretzky with Daniel moving in. Gretzky scores! A perfect shot! A perfect shot by Wayne Gretzky!
Tied now at 3, the game moved into the third period, where Waugh stopped everything that came his way. But in the final seconds, he did get a little help.
Gretzky going behind the net, left it for Sandstrom. Sandstrom wants to move it in front. Sandstrom still has a shot. In behind Waugh, no goal. Gretzky's arguing it went in. The light did not come on. Gregson immediately put his arms out and said no goal.
The Kings argued that Guy Carbonneau illegally covered the puck while lying in the crease. But Carbonneau had a different view.
I didn't know the puck was there, but I knew when Reichel threw his stick in my face, tried to poke at something, I knew the puck was somewhere. So I just kind of, it was just a reflex to put my hand there, and so the puck wouldn't go in. But I didn't know. I had no clue where the puck was.
Tied at 3-3, everyone, players and fans alike, prepared for a nail-biting, close-checking, tension-packed overtime. But in a 34-second blink of the eye, it was over.
Leclerc drops it off the center. Canadiens back. Bellows shot deflected. Near side to Muller. Down low, Leclerc! Save! Just barely! Leclerc! Scores! John Leclerc! The Montreal Canadiens have won their 9th consecutive overtime game in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. They defeat the Kings 4-3.
Puck just kept coming to me. Kirk Muller made a great pass to me to start it, and I got the shot on net. Kind of trickled through the crease. I thought Brian Bellows was going to be there to put the rebound in. He instead tied up his defenseman and ended up picking 2 other guys, which enabled me to get the puck again. I put it back on net, and it hit Kelly Rudy. Then the puck came right back to me, and I had a wide open net.
Montreal had won its 2nd straight overtime game against the Kings, needing just 1 minute and 25 seconds of overtime play to win both of them. For the Kings, a daunting task lay ahead. Down now 2-1, the Kings tried a different approach. Well, not that drastic, but Melrose did invite relatives of the players and their kids in for a pre-game 4 skate. in an effort to keep the team loose.
Okay, the whistle goes. Let's go. Let's skate. Go over there, see me skate all the way around the net. Can you skate around the net down there? Let me watch. This way. Hi, this way. That net. Go around the net. Go. Woo!
We enjoy having the kids around the rink. We don't get to see our kids enough. We've been gone basically for 3 months now. So it's a nice day to be spent with our children and get to know them again. So it was more of a family day and then get them home and relax.
And no one took better advantage of the family skate than Tony Granato, who had lots of catching up to do.
To go through a Stanley Cup Finals and have something so special in your career and to have your family there and be part of it is really nice to be able to share with them.
Tony's son Dominic even got to celebrate his birthday with a quick lesson on how to muck it up in the corners, a Granato family trademark.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Dominic. Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Get out.
Scrappy, feisty, willing to take on anyone. No doubt about it, Dominic certainly was a Granato.
It's a special day for you.
Back to the business at hand. The Kings desperately needed to win a game at home. But midway through the first period of Game 4, an old bugaboo came back to haunt them, their inability to win face-offs.
No score, first period. 9:05 left. Score! Right off the face-off, and Rudy was shocked.
You know, a little bit of luck. I try that, maybe every 15, 20 times you try it, it might work.
Well, it worked this time all right, and the Canadiens had a 1-0 lead. So it stood on into the second period, when the Kings dug an even deeper hole by giving Montreal a power play.
Muller set up in front. Mike Keane, point shot, off the skate, rebound, score! Vincent Damphousse gives them a 2-0 lead. And that's live at the Forum in Montreal, where fans have paid $2 for a seat. It's all for charity.
But at the Forum in Los Angeles, momentary despair. Kings fans were down but not out. And it was just a matter of time before their patience would be rewarded.
Donnelly, DiPietro moved in and just took it away. DiPietro lost to Granato. Donnelly saved by Waugh. Donnelly scores! Mike Donnelly!
Donnelly had electrified the crowd, but Demers quickly put the situation in perspective.
Hey, settle down, we're still up here. Settle down, we're still up here.
Ah, but for how long? For with 50 seconds left in the second period, a Montreal penalty gave Gretzky and the Kings still another chance.
12 seconds left. McSorley is showing patience. The shot in. Gretzky around the net. Comes out, centering back. Score! They tie it with 4.6 seconds left in the period.
The Kings' fortuitous second period comeback had all the ingredients for a Hollywood script.
I don't want to jinx it, but I got to tell you, I think these guys have hearts like as big as Wyoming. I really do. I think this team is a team that wants to win, and I think they're going to win.
And as the third period got underway with the game tied at 2, Rudy auditioned for the part of Game 4 hero.
Coming to the middle, DiPietro's open. DiPietro save! Rebound! Shot deflected into the corner. Shoot check and McSorley. DiPietro saved by Kelly Rudy. Overline's got some room. Overline lost control. Overline dropped it. Hit the post!
But at the other end, Patrick Waugh was acting in a starring role.
Là, c'est Leclerc aidé de Schneider et lui font perdre la rondelle et les repousser derrière le filet de Roy. Sandstrom remet devant, mais personne pour recevoir chez les siens. Là, c'est Robitaille qui se retourne. Sandstrom ensuite, mais Roy résiste. Il a tenu le coup.
Well, in any language, Waugh's confidence was apparent as these two teams moved into their third straight overtime.
It's a thing, I guess, happens once in your career, you know. I felt so good out there, and I felt like I was tough to beat, and I was not really lucky to give those 2 goals. And I felt like, seems like we were nervous a bit in the room and anxious. And
Patrick just stood up. He said, "Look, guys, I'm not going to let any more goals, and you guys go out there and get me one, and we're going to win this game."
3-on-2 for the Kings. Donnelly leads it. Donnelly with Corey Millen. Millen's in front. Shot. Save! Patrick Waugh!
When a goalie stands up and says that, he's certainly not cocky. It's just you see the confidence in him.
Curry across the line with Shewchuk and Robitaille. Curry to Shewchuk in front. Can't get a shot.
Well, that's Patrick, and he's capable of backing it up.
Right side to Carson. He shoots. Save! Patrick Waugh!
this is things that you could say when your teammates are playing the way my teammates are playing right now.
Lonnie Lynch, Gretzky shot, save!
When he comes up and says that, it's important because he doesn't talk that much. He's a quiet guy, and he's probably never done that before. And when he does that, he comes back to Bo Gainey, who he didn't talk that much, but when he did, players listened, and he did that night, and the players reacted to it, and we were fortunate enough to win.
Carson drops it. Donnelly, saved by Waugh. Rebound all the way to the blue line. 2-on-1 break. Leclaire moving in. Leclaire waiting. Hit Kelly Rooney. Leclaire trying to back it in. He scores! John Leclaire, for the second consecutive game, has given the Canadiens an overtime win. Their 10th overtime win in a row. 3-2 over the Kings.
You might be down a little more if you lost 5-2 every game. We're in every game. We just need that one final step in how to win a Stanley Cup final playoff overtime game. We're right there. Something prohibits us right at the end.
As for Mr. Patrick Waugh, a promise made, a promise kept. So it was back to Montreal for Game 5, where the Canadiens could clinch the Cup, and the Kings could catch an earful from the Montreal fans.
All right, go Habs, go! Go Habs, go! Canadiens gonna win the 24th Stanley Cup!
I know it's going to be a tight game, but I know the Canadiens are going to win. They're on a roll. They're not going to be at the Forum for too much longer, 2 more years or so. So the Ghosts are working overtime right now. I figure this will be it. It'll be tonight.
Now it was the Canadiens' turn to feel loose. So much so that Waugh made a pre-game gift of his stick to a young fan. Though it was not the miracle stick he would use in every one of this year's playoff games. Heroes present and heroes past had come together as one. The Forum was made for nights like this.
We're going to come out flying tonight. No one wants to go back to LA right now. We could do without the travel, without the extra worry and everything. But aside from that, it'd be an incredible feeling to win in front of our home fans, and I think it'd be just a great thrill. And we're not paid to play any extra games here.
With confidence at a new high, the Canadiens did come out flying. They chose once again to play the body, and hard work in their own end led to the game's first goal.
5 minutes left in the first period. Scoreless. Here's a steal. Lehman winding up. Lehman centered it. Score! DiPietro scores!
Well, the first goal of the game in this series, the team that scored it has won all 4 games coming into this one.
So pumped up were the Habs, they almost made it 2-0 off the very next faceoff.
Pietro scoring at 15-10 of this first period. Lehman with an assist. And here's Dom Foose on a breakaway. Stopped by Rudy. Sensational save by Rudy to keep it at 1-0.
And so it remained 1-0 on into the second period, when Kings defenseman Marty McSorley both began a rush and finished it.
Marty McSorley starts it out. McSorley drops it. Carson to Robitaille. Robitaille in the middle. McSorley scores! This game is tied! 1-1. They are going to make it interesting and maybe a little more. They're going to call upstairs to the video replay judge to determine whether or not it crossed the line.
Post.
Goal.
Over the line. The ground.
And everyone here in the
Montreal form surprised that anyone can get a puck past Patrick Roy. Well, Marty McSorley's not surprised, and the Kings right back in this game.
But the Kings weren't in it for long. For just 1 minute later, Kirk Muller opened the Stanley Cup Championship floodgates for Montreal.
Held into overline from Schneider. Shot deflected. Did not get in on Kelly Rudy. Ron Blake was able to block it. Downfuss again looking for Bellows. Downfuss himself. Muller shot. Score! Kirk Muller! This is what makes Montreal so frustrating to play against. You have a hard enough time scoring goals. You get one, and it's like, well, our turn, and they come right back and put it on the board.
Here's Keane coming in from the back. LeBeau scores. LeBeau. 3-1 Montreal.
And these fans are beginning to realize the Stanley Cup could be at center ice when this game ends.
DiPietro scores! Second of the game! 4-1 Canadiens!
And now a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Of the 20 games it took to win it all, 11 went into overtime. They beat Wayne Gretzky, who led all playoff scorers with 40 points. And for the unprecedented 24th time in their history, the Canadiens had won the Stanley Cup. There were individual heroes at every turn, but mostly there was a team, one that played together to perfection.
Le gagnant du trophée Connie Smythe du Canadien de Montréal, Patrick Roy.
For Patrick Roy, a well-deserved award. For the Montreal Canadiens, a tribute to the entire organization.
Congratulations to the players, to Ron Corey, to Serge Savard, to Jacques Devers. Guy Carbonneau, captain, please come and take the Stanley Cup.
Now you see one of sport's great moments right here.
The first thing Guy Carbonneau did when his name was called was grab Denis Savard and drag him over to hold the cup first. What a captain.
No team in professional sports has won more titles than the Canadiens. And in the 100th anniversary year of the Stanley Cup, perhaps it's fitting that it belongs to Montreal.